Hey, Coyote fans, welcome into the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. South Dakota's season unfortunately came to an end. Good news is it was in the NCAA tournament. Coyotes matched up with a very good Creighton Blue Jay team who's on to the Sweet 16. Coach, obviously a tough matchup. You knew that going into it. Obviously a lot of excitement for your team coming off that Summit League Tournament championship, opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament. What was the feeling and the mindset of this group as you go into that matchup with Creighton?
I mean, there was a lot of excitement, obviously, involved in it, and I think they actually handled the moment pretty well. I think we struggled a little bit in the first set, but I don't think it was a mindset thing. I don't think we were fearful in any way. I think it got away from us a little bit early, and then had a hard time coming back from it. But just the pace at which they play, I think we struggled with a bit. But I think they were ready. I think there was obviously a lot of excitement. I think there was a lot of pride in it too. You know, it's something that every team starts this season off wanting to be there at the end. So for us to be able to work through some of those ups and downs throughout the season and see ourselves in that position, see our name, our logo on the door, you know, we come in for practice and seeing it out on the court. I mean, it was a great moment, and I'm glad our team was able to experience that.
How different is the feel? You see some of that stuff when you go for warm-ups and into your locker room that you don't see in the regular season. The gym is essentially the same, but there's a few more banners and things like that. How different is the feeling when you get to that point?
I mean, I think it's a moment that I don't think you can fully prepare for. But, you know, again, I think you're right. Practice is the same. You know, the locker room really isn't that different. But when you see the logos and you see the advertisements and you watch the video leading up to the match, I mean, that's usually when it's, you know, it kind of hits you of like, oh, this is real. Like, we are here. And I think even us as coaches still get that at times, you know. So I can only imagine what it feels like sometimes for our players, but I think we had a great practice when we were down there. I thought they handled everything really well. I thought they were themselves. So really, I felt like it was a great experience for us, and in a lot of ways, we can walk away from it knowing that you know, we did our best.
When you go into a matchup like that, you know Creighton obviously is very good. We talked about that. They were on the borderline of being one of the number one seeds, so you know they're going to be very good. What was the biggest challenge maybe that they provided South Dakota?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think the biggest thing that we struggled with, and we talked about it throughout the match with our team, is we just had to find ways to generate more points. We had to score the ball more efficiently. And obviously, I think blocking-wise, they did a good job, but their backcourt defense was also very good. And obviously, that's something that we see in our own gym a lot, but, you know, they were doing it at the same level, if not higher. So there was we were taking where it was, hey, that was a great swing, and they would fly out of nowhere and get a great dig. So I think that was the biggest challenge for us, is just finding ways to be able to score points instead of having to rely on their errors, because they don't make many. I mean, they're a pretty clean team, and I think the two of those things kind of put together made it very difficult for us.
Had a good amount of players have the opportunity to play in their backyard or really close to home with this matchup at Creighton. That's pretty unique.
Yeah, it was special. You know, both Lauren and Morgan talked about it after the match in the press conference of just, it's always special to be able to come back home. It's always special to be able to play in front of family and friends and high school coaches and teachers. And I think it's been great for us too, because we have that support, you know, in different areas than just in Vermilion. But for some of those Nebraska players to kind of go back home and play in front of so many of the people that obviously were a huge part of their career, whether it's volleyball or school or life, I think those moments are always great.
You know, when you look at a bracket, always look at the seeding, and based on seeding, one team is supposed to win, one team is supposed to lose. But your team believed it could compete in this match. You go into that mindset every single time. How difficult is it in this instance? I mean, there have been some losses this season, but this was the last one. How long does that take to settle in for this group?
I actually think they handled it well, and especially for the young group that we had. I mean, obviously we had some people that had experience in that situation, but I think it was 2 to 3 players. So now we have obviously a large group of our team, especially the returners coming back, that have now experienced what it feels like to play in the NCAA tournament, knowing that last game could be their last, and that experience is going to be very valuable for us moving forward. But I think the team handled it really well. I don't think think that there was a fear in any way of just like the what if, like if we lose, like we're done. I think they enjoyed playing with each other. I think they continue to support each other, uplift each other, and work really hard to play Coyote volleyball. But when you see the matchup and you see the seeding, and we know that Creighton obviously was in the running for a top 4 seed, we also knew that for us to have success, we were going to have to play a very, very clean game consistently. And we had moments, we had runs where we did a lot of good things. We just couldn't sustain it like they could.
Well, it's certainly a great opportunity. You get to go to the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, it doesn't end the way that your team had hoped. But nonetheless, like you said, great opportunity, great experience, a building block moving forward for Coyote Volleyball. When we come back, we'll talk about the next steps for the volleyball program as they head into the offseason. This is the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. The Coyote Volleyball Show is brought to you by Scooters Coffee. Scooters Coffee. Amazing drinks, amazing people, amazingly fast. Back in the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. South Dakota is on to the offseason for Coyote Volleyball. We're visiting with head coach Leanne Williamson. Coach, what's it look like now for you? I mean, obviously the volleyball tournament's still going on, the NCAA tournament. Do you watch a lot of that? Does your team, do they watch a lot of that? How do you kind of focus on that here over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a lot of high-level volleyball being played right now. So I know us as coaches have watched a lot. My family probably isn't as excited because I will have volleyball on for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to watch a lot of those matches. But it's a lot of fun just to see the different teams that we've played against, teams that we've competed against, and to watch just the level at which they're playing and to see some of the upsets because there have been some in the tournament already. It's just such an exciting time, the year. I know I was talking to one of our players today, and they said that I think it was on Friday or Saturday, they had 3 different TVs set up so they could watch a few of the different matches all at the same time. So I think for everybody, it's just a fun time of the year to be able to, in some ways, celebrate the sport of volleyball and the growth that it's had and the amount of the games that are on TV now that we can all watch. That even this weekend, none of them are on at the same time. They're all back to back, so you don't have the overlaps. It's exciting for the sport, and I'm glad that we as coaches get to be a part of it, but our team also gets to experience that.
We almost saw a really big upset last week with Northern Iowa taking Louisville, everything that they had. I think that 5th set was like 22-20, something like that. They're a very similar school to South Dakota. Is that one that you circle that your team maybe takes note of that makes them believe that maybe they're not that far away?
Yeah, and UNI is also a team that we played this year in the exhibition. So we were able to play UNI, we were able to play Louisville, but to see those teams compete at that level, I think it's always that little bit of, maybe a little bit of a confidence booster of, again, it is a mid-major school. So, why not us? I think their program has just sustained excellence for a very, very long time. And I think we are moving in that direction. We've won a lot here in the last, few years, but we've got a ways to catch up to them in terms of just how much time they've spent at the top. But it's exciting, and I think to be able to look at it and be like, I know that player. We've competed against them. We won a set there. It should give them some confidence.
Moving forward for you, is this now into like a recruiting season? How does kind of all of that work as you get into here December and obviously flip the calendar?
Yeah, we always say things are going to slow down when the season ends, and it just doesn't. It's always a little bit of a shock to me, but between the portal opening up and we're just always on top of that, of just, again, making sure that we are finding pieces that are going to help our team get better. But then, the wrapping up of the budgets and the travel trips and planning recruiting for the spring and planning, our banquet and little things like that. There is still a lot going on. So I will say we're trying to front load it this week so that we can really enjoy that volleyball here at the end of the week. But we'll definitely stay busy, but we will have a couple weeks here over the break to really take some time, some downtime and relax a little bit as well.
Is this a time to have conversations with your players and make sure you understand that their plans moving forward and just kind of your team as a whole?
We will meet with individuals right now if they would like to, but we usually do our meetings at the beginning of spring. I think kind of get away from the season a little bit, allow ourselves as coaches to kind of reflect a little bit, allow the players to reflect a little bit more. And I think that's it's been really beneficial for us starting the spring semester of, hey, these are the things that we saw. What did you see? What did did you feel? What do you want to accomplish? Here's some of the goals that we have for you. So that's kind of the starting point of our spring season. That's kind of the starting point of that next journey towards working towards another championship in 25.
As you start to think about next year's schedule, and I'm sure some of that has already been, maybe mapped out a little bit, and some of that as you go through it, do you take notes from the NCAA tournament reveal and some of that on how the NCAA committee values number of wins versus maybe strength of wins and some of that? I know you've challenged this team so much over the last few years of playing high-quality opponents. Do you take notes like that to try to evaluate how your scheduling model looks?
I mean, there's definitely a balance. I don't want to go into a preseason where, we're not winning at all, but at the same time, we don't want to schedule a preseason that guarantees us wins. We want to have that good balance. And we really feel like we've done a good job of scheduling and finding some of those 50-50 matches, where we could go in and we have a very good chance at winning, but it could very easily go the other way. And playing teams that we know are going to win a lot of matches, if we have that capability in our scheduling, that helps us a lot. But do we look at the NCAA and the RPIs and the way they kind of map out the schedule a little bit? I mean, yes, but also I feel like the way we've done it has worked really well for us in terms of we have to play some of those top teams in order to be prepared for the NCAA tournament when we do get there. And I truly do believe that our team was more prepared because of playing some of those high-level matches in the preseason.
Well, we're excited to see where the volleyball program goes next. I know your goal is always more NCAA tournaments, so we'll look forward to all of that. Coach, thanks for the time, not only in this one, but all season long. We appreciate you and your access and access to your players as well. It's always fun to have our fans get a little bit more knowledge of them and kind of connect to the players a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that our players get to be on, a show like this and for people to start to feel like they know them a little bit more. But I'd like to say thank you, too, to both yourself and Aneshka doing all the taping here and all of our fans throughout the year. I mean, we have an incredible support system here, and I think going to the conference tournament, going to the NCAA tournament, that was very evident, and it's something that I know our players see and feel, and it's definitely something that I see and feel.
All right, we'll keep after it. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
That's Leanne Williamson, the head coach of Coyote Volleyball. Big thanks to her and the players all season long for making this show possible, and Aneshka as well. She's the one who's behind the scenes that makes all of this possible, so we appreciate her efforts as well. That's it for us this season. I'm John Thayer. This has been the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee.
Scooters Coffee. Amazing drinks, amazing people, amazingly fast.